15 kilometers off the coast of Nagasaki, a concrete tomb rises from the sea. This island was once the most densely populated place on Earth. More people lived here per square meter than in Manhattan, than in Hong Kong, than anywhere else in human history. Today, it stands completely silent. Welcome to Hashima Island, the place Japan tried to forget. The year was 1887. Mitsubishi Corporation purchased a small rocky island. They had discovered something beneath the waves: coal, vast underwater seams of it. They began to dig, not outward, but down. Mine shafts descended 600 meters below the ocean floor, the deepest submarine coal mine ever constructed. But coal alone doesn't explain what happened here. Within decades, Hashima transformed into something unprecedented, a vertical city built entirely of concrete. Apartment towers rose 9 stories high, schools, hospitals, cinemas, shops, an entire civilization compressed onto 6.3 hectares of land. By 1959, over 5,000 people inhabited this artificial island. The population density reached 83,500 people per square kilometer. No other place in recorded history has ever matched it. The Japanese called it Gunkanjima, Battleship Island. From the ocean, its silhouette resembled a warship on the horizon, but this battleship would never sail, and its fate was already sealed. The ferry approaches through morning mist. Concrete walls emerge like fortress ramparts, 10 meters high, built to withstand typhoons that would obliterate ordinary structures. We step onto the crumbling dock. Immediately, the silence strikes you. 5,000 voices once filled this space. Now only waves and wind. The main boulevard stretches ahead. It was Japan's first entirely paved street. Children played here. Workers walked to their shifts. Life pulsed through these arteries. Today, vegetation breaks through concrete. Rust bleeds down walls like wounds. We climb toward the residential blocks. The stairwells remain intact, skeletal and hollow. Through broken windows you glimpse what remains. Bathtubs suspended in mid-air, their floors collapsed decades ago. Desks still positioned by windows as if students might return tomorrow. Television antennas on every rooftop. This island had Japan's first widespread television access. The contrast is visceral. Advanced technology, total abandonment. Modernity frozen in decay. The end began in the 1960s. Japan's economy pivoted. Petroleum replaced coal as the primary energy source. Hashima's purpose dissolved overnight. Mitsubishi announced closure in January 1974. Residents had 4 months to evacuate. 5,000 people dismantled their lives in 16 weeks. The final ferry departed April 20th, 1974. They left behind everything they couldn't carry. Furniture, photographs, belongings accumulated over generations. The island was closed to the public, fenced, forbidden. For 35 years, Hashima existed in enforced isolation. Nature and time became its only visitors. Buildings designed for a century began to fail in decades. Typhoons stripped roofs away. Saltwater corroded steel. Concrete crumbled. By 2009, when access was finally permitted, much had already vanished. But what remains tells a darker story. We descend toward the older sections, pre-war construction. Here, the architecture changes. Narrower corridors, lower ceilings. These were the first dormitories, built between 1916 and 1945. The conditions were different then, deliberately different. We enter what remains of a common room, communal tatami mats rotted to threads. Small alcoves line the walls, sleeping spaces measuring 2 meters by 1. 12 men shared this room. Their shifts alternated constantly. Some worked underwater for 16 hours straight. The deeper we go, the more claustrophobic it becomes. You understand something fundamental here. This was not merely a city, it was an extraction machine, built around coal, designed for profit. Human comfort was secondary, human life was expendable. We find the school building next, 7 stories tall. Textbooks still scattered across floors, mathematics, science, history. Children studied here while their fathers died below. The rooftop offered the only open space, the only horizon. Families would gather each evening to breathe, to see beyond concrete walls. Now pigeons nest where children once played. The medical clinic appears ahead, equipment still visible through collapsed walls. Records indicate one doctor served 5,000 residents. Injuries were constant: cave-ins, explosions, carbon monoxide poisoning. Many who entered the mines never left them.
But the darkest chapter lies deeper still. During World War II, Hashima's population swelled beyond 6,000. The increase wasn't voluntary. Between 1943 and 1945, hundreds of Korean and Chinese civilians were transported here. Forced laborers, prisoners of war, conscripted against their will. They worked the most dangerous shafts, received minimal food, endured brutal conditions. Official records acknowledge at least 12 deaths during this period. Survivors testified to far higher numbers, hundreds, possibly thousands. Many bodies were never recovered. Some remain entombed in sealed tunnels. This history was suppressed for decades. Japan's industrial miracle had a foundation built on suffering. UNESCO recognized Hashima as a World Heritage Site in 2015. The designation was controversial, painfully so. How do you memorialize both achievement and atrocity, progress and exploitation? Standing here, the question becomes inescapable. These ruins represent human ingenuity taken to extreme: vertical cities, underwater mines, technological triumph. But also human cruelty, forced labor, disposable lives, systematic abuse. Both truths exist simultaneously. Neither can be erased. The island remembers, even if nations would prefer to forget. Today, only a fraction of Hashima is accessible. Designated walkways permit limited tourism. The rest remains off-limits. Too dangerous, too unstable. Engineers estimate complete structural collapse within decades. Already, entire buildings have vanished, dissolving into the sea that surrounds them. Typhoons accelerate the decay. Each storm strips away more history. Preservation efforts face impossible odds. Concrete absorbs salt water like a sponge. Steel reinforcements expand as they rust. Structures split from within. Nature reclaims what humanity abandoned. The island is returning to the ocean, slowly, inevitably. Photographers document what remains while it still stands. Historians preserve testimonies before witnesses disappear. There's urgency now. This monument to industrial ambition is temporary. In another 50 years, little may survive. The ocean is patient. It will reclaim what it never truly yielded. Hashima Island forces confrontation with uncomfortable truths. We built cities in impossible places. We extracted resources regardless of cost. We achieved the unthinkable at the expense of the expendable. This island represents the 20th century in miniature: rapid industrialization, urban concentration, economic exploitation. It rose faster than any city before it.
it died faster than anyone predicted. The people who lived here weren't just statistics. They were families, communities, generations. They celebrated festivals on these rooftops. They fell in love in these corridors. They also suffered, some by choice, many by force. Their lives compressed into 6 hectares, their memories compressed into crumbling concrete. We tell ourselves we've moved beyond such places, that modernity has evolved. But similar islands exist today. Different locations, different industries, places where human dignity remains negotiable, where profit justifies exploitation. Hashima stands as testament and warning, achievement and cautionary tale. Its silence speaks louder than its populated years ever did, because in that silence we hear echoes of our own choices, our own compromises. The question isn't whether we remember Hashima. The question is whether we learn from it. These abandoned places hold stories that demand telling, stories of ambition and consequence, progress and price. If you want to explore more forgotten worlds, subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment below. Which abandoned place should we investigate next? Until then, remember, every ruin was once someone's home. Every ghost town was once someone's future.